Hey, what's up guys? My name is Sal, and this is another expedition log. Ocean City, Maryland has a rich and detailed history. An Englishman named Thomas Fenwick once owned the land where Ocean City now sits. In 1869, businessman Isaac Coffin built the first beachfront cottage to receive paying guests. As grandfather of the local tourism industry, Coffin attracted visitors from all over the eastern seaboard who desired an escape from the everyday hustle of life in the 1870s. Things were nuts back then. At the time, Ocean City was simply an undeveloped strip of sand, with pristine beaches and dunes as far as the eye could see. Visiting guests in the 1870s would arrive in horse-drawn carriages lit by lanterns and adorned with velvet upholstery and dark-stained wood. Shortly after the first cottage was built, the town was surveyed, and the decision was made to develop 250 beachfront lots. The corporation that was formed to develop the land sold 4,000 shares of stock at $25 each. Ocean City at this time was known as the Ladies' Resort to the Ocean. On July 4th, 1875, the Atlantic Hotel was opened and would be the northernmost attraction in Ocean City for many years. It had 400 rooms, including a billiards hall and entertainment for the gentlemen, offering the natural beauty of a small coastal town along the Atlantic Ocean. A railroad from Berlin was developed in 1878, which allowed travelers to cross the Sinapuxent Bay directly to the resort, and the town was incorporated in 1880. Ocean City developed slowly but steadily over the next few decades as a true summer resort. But then, between August 13th and August 28th of 1933, a major hurricane separated the resort from the Assateague Island. There were sustained winds of over 140 miles per hour, 47 fatalities, and $41.2 million worth of damage, not adjusting that for inflation. The Army Engineer Corps that responded to the disaster took advantage of the storm-carved inlet and reinforced it to make this new gateway between the Atlantic Ocean and the Sinapuxent Bay permanently. In 1952 and 1964, respectively, the Chesapeake Bay Bridge and Chesapeake Bay Bridge Tunnel were completed, which increased access to the resort from the south and west, bringing more success to Ocean City. These two gateways to the shore mustn't be underappreciated, as prior to their completion, the only access to the peninsula was by skirting the bay and descending on the resort from the north. It was really tough to get to this place before the bridge and the tunnel were completed, so this boosted their esteem and traffic a ton. The resort town of Ocean City has grown into a booming vacation destination with a year-round population of over 7,000 residents and a transient population of over 300,000 on weekends during the summer season. The history of Ocean City is one of growth and restoration, but also one of small-town roots and Eastern Shore charm. Ocean City is the small town by the sea reborn as the famous resort destination in an endless cycle of summer and winter festivities. I have the opportunity to come to Ocean City pretty often through the year, playing concerts, and it's a privilege because the city is beautiful. I grew up in a beach town, and I was a surf rat, always going to the beach, and it was just a huge part of my upbringing. And then when I moved to Maryland, it really bummed me out. But later in my life, I did find Ocean City because of concerts, and I couldn't be more fortunate to have this place only a couple hours away from me. And while I was here this time, I just couldn't help myself but stopping in this awesome arcade. Seeing all of these crazy little trinkets that you can win with tickets, it just brings back so many memories when I would just grind away at skee ball trying to win as many tickets as I can when I was a kid. How cool is this place? I never won any of the big prizes though. I was always too impatient to save up my tickets, and I always wound up getting some silly little sticky slap hand or something else. But then I saw this photo booth, and it must have been from at least the early 70s, possibly the late 60s, and I don't know if it worked because all the coin slots were taped over, so I'm not sure if it actually was working, but the light was on and it looked like it was in pristine condition, and I just had to go in and just take some video of it. I especially love those manual backdrops that you can choose either pattern and just slide them back and forth. Just twist the seat to move it up and down. This thing is just amazing. But Ocean City is an amazing place, and it does have an amazing micro mall, but it is pretty depressing inside. So I'd like you to come take a walk with me in the Gold Coast Mall, Ocean City's first and only surviving mall. But first, a word from our sponsor for this video. Steve Carell before he became Michael Scott in a commercial for Brown's Chicken. Check this out.
Big news from Brown's Chicken. While we've always cooked our chicken in cholesterol-free cottonseed oil, we now have cholesterol-free batter too, so our chicken is cooked completely cholesterol-free. And it tastes just as great as always. We figured a lot of people would like our new, healthier way of cooking, but quite frankly, the response has been better than we'd anticipated. Brown's Chicken, it tastes better, and it's better for you.
The Gold Coast Mall, designed by Paramucha Palangan Associates of Washington, D.C., and developed by Sidney J. Brown, opened on August 1st, 1977. The inaugural anchors were Drug Fair, A&P Supermarket, and Benjamin's, which was a department store. Stores which were open at the dedication included Garland Lane, a women's clothing store, and Style Guide, which was a men's clothing store. 1 year later, in 1978, Mr. Brown wanted to build a new bank and add much more parking on the site. As typical with micro malls and beach towns, locals protested, and the mall owners were denied a request by Ocean City Council for the additions to their property. In January of 1979, the mall owners sued the developers of the new Ocean City Mall, which was to be built on 94th Street, just blocks away from Gold Coast. The Gold Coast owners also sued the mayor of Ocean City, Harry W. Kelly, along with Ocean City Resort officials and the city itself to prevent the new mall from being built and to instigate the implementation of an injunction to prevent permits from being granted. The owners of Gold Coast claimed that the 94th Street Mall would cause substantial injuries to Gold Coast Mall Incorporated. There is nothing like beach pizza, especially Three Brothers Beach Pizza, and this stuff was good. The mall had a bit of fun on June 3rd of 1979 after their whole legal matter, and they hosted the Gold Coast Classic 10K. In my opinion, this was probably an attempt to rub it in the face of the Ocean City Mall, which would then become known as the Ocean Plaza Mall when it was opened on 94th Street by early 1980. The opening of the new mall did not make the owners of Gold Coast very happy.
Renovations has been welcoming visitors and locals to Ocean City. We're family owned and our stores are easily accessible on Coastal Highway, the Boardwalk, and West Ocean City. Our merchandise is trendy, stylish, and fun, and always in stock. And with summer just around the corner, a visit to Sensations is a must for boogie boards, beach chairs, and umbrellas. Ladies, we have swimsuit discounts up to 50% on selected styles. Kids' tees and selected shoes are priced right at $1.99. And our famous Ocean City taffy, just $1.49 a box. Sensations, your beach department store, we're right where you are.
In February 1984, as an effort to expand business yet again, Gold Coast Mall owners requested to add an additional 734 parking spaces to the property. They were denied. Immediately after, they tightened up their request to only 213 parking spaces, and they gave their scouts honor that it was only for existing stores and they were not expanding. This was also denied. And, right up the street, the Ocean Plaza Mall was thriving, and this posed a direct threat to Gold Coast. During the holiday season of 1987, Gold Coast Mall won the privilege of hosting the Ocean City Christmas Parade on December 5th when their very own mall-branded Santa Claus arrived in town. This must have been a huge blow to their 94th Street rival, and they probably weren't happy about Gold Coast's seemingly successful venture into the holiday season. The mall underwent renovations in the summer of 1993, gaining new stores and expanding existing tenants. Finally, they were approved to make their expansions that they were looking for a very long time. Donald's Duck Shops expanded to 3 times its previous size, and new tenants were signed, such as clothing store Sand in My Shoes, Gold Coast Florist, Crafters Showcase, sports memorabilia and apparel store Home Team, and Crocs Sports Steakhouse. The Gold Coast Mall was nearly at capacity and doing great business during the spring and summer months of 1993, which further pissed off the Ocean Plaza Mall. In 1996, Fred Wine and Quantum Companies formed a limited partnership, and they bought the Gold Coast Mall for an undisclosed sum. And 1 year later, Gold's Gym opened at the mall, bringing a ton of traffic, especially during the summer months. Over the next decade and into the new millennium, Gold Coast Mall would continue to outperform its rival on 94th Street. And in the early 2000s, Ocean Plaza Mall closed for good, and they sealed that place up tight. After Ocean Plaza Mall closed, the Gold Coast Mall underwent a $500,000 renovation for the 2003 summer season. The front doors were replaced with giant glass sliding doors, and the owners added potted palm trees and made the sidewalks a bit wider for increased traffic. After the renovations and signing a few more tenants, the mall was healthily occupied with all 4 anchors firmly in place. Business was good. at what must have been the apex of every event that was held at this mall, including the 10K, their Christmas events, and everything else. Their most famous event happened in 2005. They held a hot dog eating contest. Super exciting stuff. First prize was $500 in cash, which isn't bad. I'd take that. But second and third place were Gold Coast Mall certificates for a couple $100s each. Would you have participated in a hot dog eating contest that offered gift certificates to this mall? Let me know. So right now we're taking a walk in back of the mall, and you can see this really cool wooden pathway and the bay flora over here. And if you look up to the top left here soon, there's a restaurant up there that looks kind of dilapidated, and I'm not sure if it's still open, but I definitely wouldn't go on that deck and eat. This walkway actually leads to the Fox movie theater, which accompanies the mall. It's been at the mall for ages, forever. I'm not sure if all of this green rusted metal is like substructure that used to exist for like an awning or something, but it is pretty gross, and I would never let a child near that. Check out that old Radio Shack alarm sticker. So we're gonna go back into the mall and get one last look around. And we're going to go back into the rear entrance. Moving into the next decade, the mall saw one of its original anchor tenants close when the Superfresh supermarket, formerly A&P, closed in March of 2011. However, 1 year later, Peebles department stores opened on April 18th, 2012, moving into the vacant lot left behind by Superfresh. On March 5th, 2015, Fred Wine signed a multi-year lease with TJ Maxx and had the grand opening for the store in August of the same year. To make space for the new anchor, Mr. Wine had several smaller stores relocate to previously vacant storefronts and renovated the space to accommodate TJ Maxx. So a huge shift happened, and he wanted to make room for what would probably bring in more business than vacant storefronts. It's a smart move. I think this is a charming little mall, and I don't foresee it going anywhere. It's a pretty small space, and it sort of sustains itself. So again, I don't think this place is going anywhere. So if you're in town, go give it a look. I want to thank all of you for watching this video. And a very special thank you to the newly formed Quite Studios research team, which is comprised of myself, Kristen from Unicom Productions, Nick DeMeo from the Caldor Rainbow, and Jack Thomas from deadmalls.com. Thanks guys. I had a ton of fun going to this mall and shooting this video and seeing Ocean City, and I hope to do more like this in the future. But until then, thank you again for watching, and thanks to all my patrons and subscribers, and you guys all rock. Take care everybody.